Toe up, church. Wounded saints. Amos, the prophet, is concerned about Israel. It appears to him they are not just doing one thing, they are doing any and everything. Last week we were horrified to hear of a 17-year-old shooting in his high school because he wanted to have a mass killing. Look at America. I've discovered that the moral muscle of society has become so tender that the people of the world, along with those of us who are full of religiosity, are also in luxury physically and spiritually. Can you turn the mic down some for me, please? Anytime you find yourself in luxury, you are comfortable. Anytime you find yourself comfortable on this Christian's journey, any veteran Christian can and will tell you that you are headed for trouble. Am I right about it? But when you're in luxury, you can't see the wound inside of you as well as inside the walls of the church that is leaking with all kinds of situations and all kinds of problems and all kinds of issues. The scab has been pulled off the wound. It's wide open. The sad thing about it is that many of us miss the sores that are around us because we have become so accustomed to the sore until the sore looks well or we can't even see the sore. Are y'all there? But the sore is there and the scab is very fragile. Somebody said something you don't like, the sore of leaving the church starts running. You don't agree with what's going on, the sore takes your ball and goes home. Let me see if I can't walk in your house. You say you forgave that person, but every time that person says something to you, the sore starts running because you are reading into something what the person is really not saying. We think everything is going on fine, but at the same time, we are running into a collision course with God. You hear him saying, God is tired of your false security. I'm getting tired of your misplaced trust. I'm getting weary of you putting me on the back shelf until you get in trouble. Then you dust me off and pull me up to the front. That's why when you call, I can't answer. That's why when you are still where you are, the only time you seem to know my name is when you are on the inside walls of the church for fakery. Tired of making you think that you can only call me when you need something. Oh, yes, I hear some fools saying there is no God. Some of you young folk out on the street would rather listen to Migos, Drake, Cartier, because they say your God. Oh, y'all young people don't know who I'm talking about, huh? You say your God might have been your need-filling days gone by, but your God's day is over. We need something new. But I believe there are some veteran Christians in here who has some news for Drake and Cartier. The God I serve is up to date, down to date, before the date, and beyond the date. He dated the times and the times dividing of times and at his name, not at the name of Trump. Not at the name of Boys to Men, not Stormy Daniels, but at his name. Not Justin Bieber, but at his name. Not James LeBron, but at his name. At his name, every knee shall bow and every tongue shall confess that Jesus Christ indeed is King of Kings and Lord of Lords. Well, God says, I formed you for a purpose. What did he form you for? I can't hear you. What did he form you for? He said, I formed you for a purpose. I formed you to praise my name. I planted you to do a work that nobody else can claim. That's why I can't understand. Why should I be jealous of somebody else who has a better talent than I think I ought to have inside the walls of the church? Or y'all don't have to talk if you don't want to talk. Why must I concern myself with what someone else is doing when I myself need to learn what I ought to be doing to glorify his mighty and marvelous name? Ask Jesus and look at the text. Verse 12. Verse 12 says, do you hold a horse race in a field of rocks? Do you plow the sea with oxen? Says you'd cripple the horses and drown the oxen. And yet you've made shambles of justice. Listen, please listen. No church can win making odds with God. Y'all missed that. No church can win making odds with God. I don't care what your name is. No church can win going against God's rules. Look up here. If you don't want God as your enemy, can I say that again? I said you don't want God as your enemy or God being at odds with you. You see, unlike us, we attempt to deal with our enemies. God doesn't have to do anything to you to be at odds with you. God can just freeze a blow on you and nothing else will happen. Well, I don't want God to be at odds with me. Ask Satan. Has Satan ever beaten God? The answer to that is no. God doesn't play games of chance. It's the real deal with God. Look at verse 12 again. Look at verse 12 again. It says, can the absurd happen? Do y'all see that? Can the absurd happen? Do horses run on the rocky cracks? It's almost a joke. You don't know the answer to that, don't you? But then God goes in another direction. First he says, do horses run on rocky cracks? Then God says, does one plow there with oxen? But you have turned justice, he says, into poison and the fruit of righteousness into bitterness. The prophet is talking about how we handle God. Amos says some of us use common sense in the natural realm and refuse wisdom in the spiritual realm. Ooh. Some of us use common sense in the natural realm and refuse wisdom in the spiritual realm. Y'all quiet this morning. Listen. Can one live a sinless life? I'm going to ask you a question. Can one live a sinless life? We say, God knows our heart. God knows our problems. God knows our understanding. But the question is, can one live a sinless life? The answer to that is, I can live a sinless life if. Turn to your neighbor and say, if. Now, you ain't saying it loud enough. Turn to him and say, if. Now, you still ain't saying it loud enough. Turn to your neighbor and say, if. You're still not loud enough. Say, if. If I change my behavior and change my patterns and understand that I can do not some things through Christ. I can do all things through Christ. Now, wait, watch this. By the way, do not miss next week. Please don't miss next week, because I'm going to deal with this. I'm going to really deal with this sinless life. Listen. Who will be saved? Those who have a clean heart and a pure mind. I'm not hooping this morning. I have no intentions of hooping this morning. I'm going to say it again. Those who have a clean heart and a pure mind. Now, do you get a clean heart and a pure mind when Jesus comes? I'm asking a stupid question. Do you get a clean heart and a pure mind before Jesus comes? You got to have a clean heart and a pure mind before he comes. I'm going to say it one more time. You have to have a clean heart and a pure mind before he comes. James Weldon Johnson speaks out in the conscience of the young boy and says the young man turns around and he says it again. Listen to what he says. Young man, your problems, your arms are too short to box with God. See, I have to learn that I cannot and I will not be able to fight with God. I have to have God on my side. I'm going to say it again. I have to have God on my side. If the world is not any better, don't blame God. I said, if the world is not any better, you cannot blame God. Why can't you blame God? Because God did not make the world bad. Individuals and us made the world bad. So what I'm supposed to do is I'm supposed to make the people that's in my circle good. Am I right about it? Listen at this. If God cannot remove the problem, God just wants to prove to us that when your life is not like you think it ought to be, God has a way of making things right. Because the only folk who complain are the folk who are looking in. I said the only folk who complain are the folk who looking in. You understand? Let me put it to you like this. Some folk will say this. I know why he's sick. He done something wrong. I know why he can't never keep a boyfriend or a girlfriend. He's always getting married more than once or 4 or 5 times. Are y'all in here? You see, I must understand that God looks on the, man looks on the. Just the other day, just the other day, I'm at the gym, and I'm talking to this man. And this man says to me, he says, why you in the gym every day? Did y'all get what he asked me? He said, why are you in the gym every day? I said, I'm not in the gym every day, but I try my best to get in the gym every day. He says, how old are you? And I say to him, I'm 66 years old. I'm not afraid of how old I am. Are y'all in here? And so he says, he says, are those your friends that you work out with? I say, yes. He says, I noticed something about y'all. He said, y'all come in the gym, y'all take a section of the gym area, and y'all don't play. Y'all work out. I said, what do you expect us to do? He says, well, I noticed y'all don't do much conversing. Y'all just work out. I say, in order to get what you need, you must work out. You must be consistent. You must know beyond a shadow of a doubt that you're able to do what you're supposed to do. And the only way you can do it is be consistent. Let me ask this last question before I sit down. How many of you really pray 3 times a day?